be getting old or some... Huh? Ah! Oh, holy cosmos, look at that thing! My gosh, that's one whopper! All right! I am not going to let this shake my composure! Ah!
Nowadays, we got Super Saiyan forms all over the place. And with most, I can understand the origin or general idea behind them. However, there is one Super Saiyan form I still don't understand after nearly 9 years. Oh god, the Future Trunks arc was almost a decade ago? That's right, we're talking about Super Saiyan Rage. Let's go over and break down what I think is the most confusing form in Dragon Ball. First, let's talk about the timeline of events over these past 8 years. Maybe some of you guys remember October of 2016. You're watching the newest episode of Dragon Ball Super, episode 61, where Goku pops off after Goku Black and Zamasu taunt him. I'm on the edge of my seat, man. How is Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks gonna get out of this one? Then Black and Zamasu start going on with their speech that this is all Trunks' fault in the first place. Trunks starts saying something along the lines of, "So what if it's a sin?" He then loses his pupils and gets enveloped in a crazy aura. Part of me thought he was going Super Saiyan 3. Then he walks forward, his footsteps heavy with power, hair now the spikiest it's been in all of Super, and he says, the episode ends. I'm floored. I just couldn't believe my eyes. Trunks is gonna be mauling Goku Black next episode, and oh, I can't wait to see it. I'm just thinking to myself, what is that form? I've never seen anything like this before. It had that blue aura within the gold aura, unlike any regular Super Saiyan form. Could it be that he had some kind of god key? I'm sure we'll find out next episode. Just gotta wait patiently for a week. A week goes by, and it's time for episode 62. Oh yeah, time for some action and some much-needed answers. The episode title reads, I will defend the world, Trunks' furious burst of superpower. Dude, it's the focus of the episode. We gotta learn more about it today. Immediately, the episode looks like a typical rushed art and animation Dragon Ball Super episode that we were all too familiar with at this point. Goku Black acknowledges Trunks' resolve, but not how Trunks physically changed. Weird. For some reason, Goku, Vegeta, Bulma, not even Mai acknowledge that Trunks transformed either. This is bizarre. Trunks initiates the fight, so at least we'll see how this form's power compares to these god-level threats. He confronts both Black and Zamasu, and while pushing back their combined blast, he regains his pupils. Huh? Did he just instantly master the new form? I don't really know what's happening anymore. Goku Black notes his strength, but once again makes no mention that Trunks changed beyond that. After Trunks bought them some time, Goku, Vegeta, and Bulma return to the present to figure out a way to deal with the Zamasu duo. And for the rest of the episode, I'm still just wondering what was going on with Trunks. Nobody mentions that he changed beyond a simple power boost, and barely even that. The entire beginning of this episode, built upon from the last scene of the previous one, felt like it was missing something fundamental that most episodes where someone transforms for the first time usually have. This feeling continued throughout the rest of the arc. We already know how the rest of this story plays out, but never once is this new form expanded upon, or even mentioned by any character. I was baffled. Like, what do we even call it? Everything surrounding this form was just questions with no answers. But I just shrugged it off and assumed maybe they'll tell us in a game or a guidebook down the line. It got units in Dokkan, but I didn't pay attention to them at the time. We'll talk about them later. Eventually, we would finally know once Dragon Ball Heroes gave this form the name Super Saiyan Rage. Alright, finally a name! But this didn't tell us anything about the form. Not like how Vegeta's new form in the Tournament of Power was named Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, clearly suggesting an evolution to Super Saiyan Blue. I guess the form's name tells us it's created from an explosion of rage, but Yeah, not exactly something unique to this form. Then Xenoverse 2 got to its 4th DLC. Remember when it was only at its 4th? I figured we'd get an update to Dragon Ball Super Trunks to have the form Super Saiyan Rage, just like how Goku and Hit got updated presets to reference the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 arc. Trunks did get an update, but not with Super Saiyan Rage. Instead, he got the Sword of Hope ultimate attack added to his moveset, while still only able to go Super Saiyan 2. But in the added story, Trunks transformed into Rage at the same point in the arc as the anime, though it was just the Super Saiyan 2 model with white eyes and the Rage aura. Weirdly though, his model was changed in the fancy rendered cutscenes to be more accurate to the anime. It was perplexing to say the least, but I figured it was some dumb Xenoverse shenanigans where they didn't want to give a character their final form. Fighters gave a dramatic finish to Super Saiyan Trunks when beating Fuse Zamasu on the West City Destroyed stage, referencing the Sword of Hope scene. Now I know, Fighters is a traditional fighting game, so I didn't need them to make a whole new Trunks just for accuracy, but this is just another example proving the trend of attributing Rage's moments and moves to Trunks' weaker forms, and it'll only continue from here. I played Legends a bit, but I didn't really pay attention to Trunks' name there. We'll cover his appearances there along with Dokkan in a bigger gacha game section. The big eye-opener for me was when we finally got to the unexpected spiritual successor to Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Sparking Zero. When DBS Trunks was revealed, we only saw Super Saiyan. We figured we'd get Super Saiyan 2 and Rage revealed later. Then, at certain events, they had the demos playable, and there was no Super Saiyan Rage. In fact, Super Saiyan Trunks was the only form he could change into, and it had the aura of Super Saiyan Rage and the Sword of Hope. I was in denial, man. I was saying stuff like, surely this is because it's a demo. They'll just give these moves and aura to Super Saiyan Rage when the full game comes out. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I felt the same way for Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. I was like, surely that will be its own character too. Then, as the roster filled up, we found there was no room left around that version of Trunks. And despite him showing up on the cover in Rage, the form was not in the game. After all these years, the handling of this Trunks and his forms still found a way to baffle me. What is going on? How is it this hard to add him into the game? Sometime later, I eventually started doing some research on the form, and I came to a crazy realization. I looked through the Dokkan units of Super Saiyan Rage. Hope at the end of a deadly showdown, Super Saiyan Trunks Future. Resilient will to protect the future, Trunks Teen Future. Blade of Hope and Dreams, Super Saiyan Readiness
Trunks
to defy
Future.
a god, Super Saiyan
Unwavering
Trunks
conviction,
Future.
light
Super
that
Saiyan
dispels
Trunks
darkness,
Future.
a
Super
will
Saiyan
beyond
Trunks
time,
Future.
raging
Raging
resistance,
Future's
Super
last
Saiyan
power of
Trunks
rage,
Future.
Duty
Super
of
Saiyan
those
Trunks
living in the
Lightning
future.
Fast.
As you could tell, this form is only called Super Saiyan Trunks in the entirety of the game's units. Then I decided to have a look over at Dragon Ball Legends. Alright, Shallot Gaming, what do you have in store for me? Super Saiyan Trunks Adult, Super Saiyan 2 Trunks Adult, Super Saiyan Trunks Adult Rage. Oh thank God, there's Super Saiyan Rage. Wait a minute. Super Saiyan parentheses Rage. Even the Dragon Ball card game only calls it Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2. That's when it hit me. No one behind the scenes actually knows what this form is. Hardly anything calls it Super Saiyan Rage, and sometimes the games just give its moments to the other forms. They don't even know whether or not to attribute it to Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2. It's just a mess. Let's go into something I held off talking about for this moment. The Dragon Ball Super manga does not have Super Saiyan Rage in the arc, outside of one appearance in an alternate volume cover. This is really important, as we know Toriyama left simple notes that both the anime and manga followed as a general outline of the story. This leads to many different changes, even though the skeleton of the story is essentially the same. So, this would indicate that Super Saiyan Rage is a Toei original, of course, but not just that. Trunks' key moments in the manga come from his Super Saiyan 2 state, which is implied equal to Goku's Super Saiyan 3 at this point, if not higher. Without even considering any strength increases in the arc, Trunks is already at this high enough level at the beginning. Super Saiyan 2 is his peak, and it serves him well enough to at least stand up to god level threats. Does this mean that Toriyama wrote something down about Trunks being strong enough to fight these kinds of characters even at Super Saiyan 2, regardless if he's overall weaker than them or not? We'll probably never know. However, Toei giving a form to Trunks that is associated with both of his previous states gives the impression that this must have been a mutually shared sentiment. But Toei had to create a new marketable form for Trunks, as it's the anime that takes priority in the merchandising. So it seems they just halfway committed to giving him something without overextending into a whole new transformation. All in all, it seems the form was made so that Trunks could be relevant in the arc and have something new and shiny to use for toys and in the games, but they didn't want to expand upon it or even commit to it being anything more than a rage boost. In that way, it reminds me of Super Saiyan Power from the Otherworld tournament filler, a new quote-unquote form used to solve an issue in the anime to keep the story as they want it presented. But while that was a fix meant to patch up a continuity mistake, Rage was a deliberate creation made to further the story. Problem is, it falls flat if you don't elaborate on it at all. The form just sucks, plain and simple. It's got no substance, it's garbage, totally unacceptable. Oh, hey Rage Trunks. I see you're angry, rageful even, but I don't actually hate you, honestly. I'm just playing it up for the video, man. In light of recent events, I'll refrain from talking negatively about Super Saiyan Rage from now on. Instead, I want to see if I can change some elements of it for fun. You know, just to see if this form could work a little better with some minor alterations. Considering the name Super Saiyan Rage, I think the form should be a state Trunks obtained due to his constant suffering from the androids in Zamasu. All of the main cast has gone through a lot, but Trunks always gets thrown some of the worst circumstances of any character. This could lead to a buildup of bottled rage, and due to facing godly opponents, he creates some sort of mutated Super Saiyan form. Instead of vaguely being an evolved Super Saiyan 1 or 2, it could be a sort of unique take on Super Saiyan 3, or something adjacent to it. At the time of making this video, Dragon Ball Daima has gotten to a special episode, so it inspired me to try redesigning the form. Taking elements of Super Saiyan 3 being the evolution after 2, Beast Gohan for being a hybrid Saiyan form, and Super Saiyan Grade 3 Trunks as an already established base model Trunks had shown before. Mix these elements together, and you have my take on Super Saiyan Rage. Considering the weird new forms Toriyama had been putting out for established characters in Super, this doesn't go too far in my opinion. It would be a form that emphasizes Trunks' frustration at his world always being on the verge of collapse. Just absolute anger and vitriol to those who would endanger his home. It could even have a hint of God Ki from prolonged exposure to fighting with and against Saiyans in their god forms. We know through Vegeta that you can gain God Ki without the ritual anyway. In contrast to the slow flames of the original aura, maybe we could have a violent aura like Gohan's Super Saiyan 2, and would make him visually seem more formidable and wild. All of this together, I think, could push the form into something a little more interesting than what we got. I typically don't like to be the kind of person who's like, I can do designs and ideas better than the people in charge creating these things. But I just thought the form was missing some Toriyama flair, and I wanted to create my own idea of what that might look like. And now, thanks to my own headcanon and art I spent hours on, I think the form is really good now. Good stuff. I just think that, oh, what's the use? The form stinks, man. I can change it however I please, but the fact of the matter is, this form was not created with any intent to give it anything to work off of but your own fan theories and headcanon. It's a nothing burger. It stinks. It's a heinous attempt to appeal to Trunks fans without putting in Can I speak to him now? Okay, thanks. Hey guys, sorry for being abruptly cut off at the end there. Had a slight disagreement with a house guest. You know how it is. What's that? Why do I have my body in the afterlife? Well, King Yema told me that because my first video on this channel did so well, shout out to Salad Saiyan, it counts as a good enough deed to retain my physical form. So now, I'm gonna be doing some training in Otherworld in order to come back even stronger than ever. In the meantime, I got friends back on Earth gathering the Dragon Balls. So, I'll be back in no time. Until then, see ya guys!